Kyle Larson won at Las Vegas. He won at Texas. He made an unscheduled appearance at Nashville and finished 8th without breaking a sweat. Through 5 starts in the 2026 NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, he looked like a man who belonged everywhere at once, a Cup Series champion, moonlighting in the second-tier series and making it look effortless. And then, just like that, his name disappeared from the Pocono Raceway entry list. No crash, no penalty, no drama on the track, no conflict behind closed doors. William Byron is in the number 88 JR Motorsports Chevrolet this Saturday at the Tricky Triangle, and Kyle Larson is not. The moment that entry list dropped, NASCAR Twitter exploded. Fans assumed injury, they assumed conflict, they assumed something was being hidden. But here is the thing, the real story is not a scandal. It is something more revealing than a scandal, and it tells you everything about what NASCAR in 2026 has quietly become. To understand why Larson is out at Pocono, you have to go back to January 2026 when JR Motorsports announced one of the most unusual roster arrangements the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series has seen in years. Connor Zilisch, the phenom who won 10 races and drove the number 88 to the Championship 4 in 2025, was gone. He had graduated to the NASCAR Cup Series with Trackhouse Racing. That left JR Motorsports with a vacancy in one of the most high-profile rides in the series. The straightforward solution would have been to name a single full-time replacement and move on. JRM did not do that. Instead, they built something that had never quite existed before. Rajah Caruth, a 23-year-old driver from Washington, D.C., would pilot the No. 88 HendrickCars.com Chevrolet in 23 of the 33 races on the schedule. The remaining 10 races would be split among 4 of the biggest names in the Cup Series Garage, all from Hendrick Motorsports. Kyle Larson got 3 starts, William Byron got 3 starts, Alex Bowman got 2. Chase Elliott got 2, 10 races, 4 drivers, 1 car. A rotating seat at the top level of the second-tier series, backed by the full weight of Hendrick Motorsports infrastructure and HendrickCars.com as primary sponsor. Crew Chief Marty Lindley, the same man who guided Zilisch through that historic 2025 campaign, would lead the operation. Kelly Earnhardt Miller, CEO of JR Motorsports, explained the thinking at the time. We couldn't be happier to welcome back all 4 of Hendrick Motorsports drivers into the JRM family to join Raja behind the wheel of our number 88 Chevrolet. Chase, William, Alex, and Kyle all have such a unique history with us, and it's just a testament to the relationship that we have built with Mr. Hendrick, Hendrick Motorsports, and Hendrick Cars. Calm that we can bring them all together with Raja to race for an owner's championship in 2026. On paper, it sounded clean. In practice, it created exactly the kind of complicated situation we are watching play out right now at Pocono. Now let's talk about what Larson actually did in that number 88 car, because you cannot fully grasp why his absence feels so jarring without understanding just how dominant he was every time he climbed in. His first start came at Las Vegas Motor Speedway in March. Larson won. It was not a lucky win. It was the kind of commanding wire-to-wire performance that reminded everyone watching exactly why this man is considered one of the 2 or 3 most gifted pure racers on the planet. Then came Bristol Motor Speedway, a 4th place finish, controlled, precise, exactly what you'd expect from a driver of his caliber on a short track. Then came a detour from the original plan. Alex Bowman was sidelined with vertigo ahead of the Darlington Raceway race in March. Larson stepped in, another 4th place finish. An extra start that nobody had anticipated. Then Texas Motor Speedway in May and Larson won again. Back-to-back victories in the series, separated by a few weeks and a few hundred miles, delivered with the same clinical efficiency he had shown at Las Vegas. And then Nashville. Bowman had returned to Cup action by mid-April, but Larson filled in for him again at Nashville Super Speedway. A second unscheduled start, finishing 8th. 5 total starts, 2 wins, 4 top 5 finishes out of 5 appearances. Kyle Larson, every time he showed up in that number 88, was a factor. So when his name was missing from the Pocono entry list, the internet did what the internet does. It assumed the worst. Here is the actual answer, and it is far less dramatic than the speculation suggests. Larson's 3 scheduled starts, Las Vegas, Bristol, and Texas, were used up. The 2 additional appearances at Darlington and Nashville were unplanned extensions of a rotation that was already defined. Pocono was never his race. It was William Byron's race from the moment the schedule was published in January 2026. Byron's 3 assigned starts were Phoenix Raceway, Kansas Speedway, and Pocono Raceway, in that order. He ran Phoenix, finishing 13th. He ran Kansas, finishing 6th. Pocono is the 3rd and final stop on his personal schedule within the rotation. The seat was committed. The plan was locked. Larson is not out because of a falling out, a performance issue, or a closed-door dispute at Hendrick Motorsports. He is out because the contract was honored and the rotation is functioning exactly as designed. This is a scheduling reality being processed by a fan base conditioned to expect controversy, and the gap between those two things is where all noise is coming from. The fan reaction, though, is worth examining because it reveals something real about how NASCAR's audience is engaging with this new model. Within hours of the Pocono entry list being published, the conversations were flying. Why isn't Larson in this race? He's been on fire. They're wasting a Pocono start on Byron. No offense, but come on. This is exactly the kind of thing that kills momentum in a season. On the other side, Byron is underrated, and this is exactly where he proves it. People forget Byron at a 1.5-mile track is dangerous. The whole point was always the rotation. Larson had his 3 starts. End of story. Both camps have a point. That tension between who might be the optimal choice for a given race and who is contractually scheduled to be in the car is the quiet friction embedded in this model. It was always going to produce moments like this one. Pocono just happened to be the race where Larson's absence became visible enough for people to notice. Now let's be direct about something. William Byron is not a backup plan. The framing that positions his presence in the know, 88 is some kind of consolation prize, is flat out wrong when you look at his resume. Byron is the 2017 NASCAR Xfinity Series champion. He is the reigning 2-time Daytona 500 champion. He is a Hendrick Motorsports cornerstone who has spent the last 3 years building one of the most consistent track records in the Cup Series garage. His 2026 O'Reilly Auto Parts Series numbers, 13th at Phoenix, 6th at Kansas, show a driver who has been finding his footing in the equipment across 2 starts, and the 6th place run at Kansas was genuinely fast when it counted. Byron has also raced at Pocono in this series before. He finished 3rd there in 2024. He knows the track, he knows Marty Lindley, he knows the number 88 machinery, and he had a clear-eyed read on what Saturday demands. Pocono is one of those tracks that really keeps you on your toes because all 3 corners are so different. You're always trying to find the right compromise with the balance and make sure you can carry speed without abusing the tires over a long run. I'm excited to get back with Marty and everyone on the number 88 team this weekend. This is his 3rd and final scheduled start. He has been building toward it, and the organization surrounding him is running at an exceptionally high level right now. The no. 88 has been in victory lane with Larson. The number 1 has been in victory lane with Connor Zilisch. The no. 9 was just in victory lane at Charlotte with Ross Chastain. JR Motorsports as a multi-car operation is functioning at peak performance entering this weekend, and Byron is walking into that environment with real momentum. But here is the angle that most of the coverage is glossing over entirely, and it is the most important thread running through this entire situation. What this rotation model is doing to Rajah Caruth. Caruth is currently 13th in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series point standings, the top driver sitting below the playoff cut line, just 12 points back from making the field. The number 88 entry sits 2nd in owner points, which means that getting into that car during the 9-race postseason would be enormously valuable for his championship ambitions. He has said as much himself. There's no reason why I can't go and compete for the championship. I'm confident in myself and the team. There is no reason why that can't be us. But every time a Cup star rotates in and takes a turn in the spotlight, Caruth's narrative momentum resets. He bounces between the number 88 and the number 32 Jordan Anderson Racing Chevrolet, depending on the week, adjusting to different machinery, different teams, different debriefs, constantly recalibrating. One fan on Reddit put it plainly. He can't really get his footing because he's constantly adjusting to different environments on that kind of rotation. Lindley acknowledged the dual objective from the start of the season. The goal is to not lose the races with Cup drivers in them, but the bigger goal is to get Rajah into victory lane. That is an honest statement, but it also captures an inherent tension in the model. The Cup cameos are performance insurance for the number 88 owner points position. Caruth is the long-term investment. Managing both simultaneously means that Caruth, the driver this arrangement is ostensibly built to develop, sometimes gets pushed to the side at the exact moments when consistency would serve him best. Rick Hendrick framed the setup optimistically when it was announced. Having our 4 Cup Series drivers join Rajah in the number 88 provides HendrickCars.com a powerful platform with a championship organization. This team is capable of competing for race wins throughout the 2026 season, and we're excited about what's ahead. And objectively, the no. 88 is competing for race wins, but Caruth, in many of those races, is watching from the seat of a different car. Looking ahead at what remains of the rotation, the picture is clearer. After Pocono, Chase Elliott is the only Hendrick Motorsports driver still scheduled to run the number 88 this season. He has 2 starts remaining, Chicagoland Speedway on July 4 and Indianapolis Motor Speedway on July 20. After Indianapolis, Caruth is scheduled to take over the number 88 for the remainder of the 2026 season, including the full 9-race chase beginning at Darlington in September. That is the plan. But this season has already shown that the plan bends. Larson made 2 unscheduled starts. Darlington when Bowman had vertigo, Nashville as a second fill-in. The rotation flexed twice before Pocono. Whether it flexes again between now and the playoffs, and under what circumstances, is a question that remains genuinely open. What is not open is Caruth's position on the playoff bubble. He is 12 points out of the field, with races running out before the cutoff. Every start in the number 88 and every start in the number 32 carries real weight at this stage of the season. Caruth will run 3 of the next 4 races in the number 88 after Pocono before the Elliott appearances in July. How he performs in that stretch may define whether he enters the postseason with a shot at the championship or watches it from the outside. So when you step back and look at the full picture, the headline, Kyle Larson replaced at Pocono, does not capture what is actually happening here. The story is not about Larson being pushed out. The story is about a model of roster construction that NASCAR has never quite seen before. Cup-level talent cycling through a lower series car on a structured rotation, blurring the lines between development program and performance showcase, between star power and pathway building. Is it a gift to the sport? There is an argument that elite Cup talent showing up in the O'Reilly Auto Parts series elevates the competition and gives fans something they would not otherwise get. The wins Larson delivered at Las Vegas and Texas were genuinely exciting. Byron's shot at Pocono this Saturday could be the same. But there is also a harder question underneath all of it. Does this model, however well-intentioned, however strategically sound from a business perspective, put a quiet ceiling on the drivers it claims to be elevating? Caruth is talented, committed, and by every account, coachable and dedicated to his craft. Lindley said it directly. He is committed to what he does. He tries hard and is dedicated to getting better. But commitment and talent only go so far when the seat you are supposed to be building momentum in keeps rotating out from under you at critical moments. The tricky triangle will give some answers on Saturday, June 13. Byron is in the car. The plan is locked. The MillerTech Battery 250 goes green at 4:00 p.m. ET on the CW. But the bigger questions embedded in this story, about roster construction, about development versus performance, about whether this hybrid model is truly serving the sport's future, those are going to take the rest of the 2026 season to fully unfold.